Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. Brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. That's right, I am the founder and editor-in-chief of the Gaming Gang. So tonight is October 12th, 2021. This is live stream number 702. So if this is your first time visiting, let me point out, it's very, very casual. We just hang out, talk about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and we take a first look at a tabletop game. Tonight, we are going to be taking a peek at Pathfinder, Lost Omens, the Grand Bazaar from Paizo Inc. So stay tuned for that. We are going to be taking a peek at that in just a bit. Also, if you have never popped in before, let me point out that the first half of the show, we talk about the latest tabletop gaming news. Then we do the first look. So if you are just stopping in and you want to see the Grand Bazaar, relax, take it easy, kick back for a little bit. It'll be probably about 30 minutes or so, and we'll jump on into that. If you're watching after the fact, there are timestamps. So if you don't want to check out the tabletop gaming news, you can click on those and jump right ahead. Keep that in mind. Do also want to mention, if you like this video, by all means, give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the dispatch streams live, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. I'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as yesterday's first look at Dungeons & Dragons, Fizban's Treasury of Dragons from Wizards of the Coast. And I should point out, if you would like to win my copy of the alternate art edition of the book, check out that first look video, because I tell you how to get into the running, and it's pretty damn easy for you to get a shot at taking that home. Of course, I will announce the winner during my review of D&D Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. Also should mention that almost all month long, the Gaming Gang Dispatch and the Gaming Gang are sponsored by...
RockCon is back the weekend of October 22nd to the 24th in Rockford, Illinois. Come out for a great weekend of gaming, including historical, fantasy, and sci-fi miniatures, role-playing, war games, and a wide variety of games for the whole family. Buy and sell at the silent auction on Saturday. Vendors from around the region will be available for your shopping pleasure. Don't miss out on all the fun. Visit rock-con.com for details.
That's right. We are sponsored by RockCon. Throughout most of the month of October, RockCon takes place in Rockford, Illinois, October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. And I will be there. So if you are planning on stopping in and checking the con out and you see me, be sure to say hello. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Also, should mention that when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. We are actually in the midst of the Gaming Gang October Spooktacular 2021. What that means, each and every day, you're going to find a brand new tabletop gaming related video at the Gaming Gang, and of course, right here on the YouTube channel. Now, it could be a first look, it could be a review, or if it's Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, it's an episode of this. Pretty obvious, right? And of course, be sure to swing by thegaminggang.com every evening throughout October at 9 p.m. Central as I host a spooky old time radio broadcast that is certain to put a chill down your spine. Lastly, this is a live stream, so that means chat is available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, please chime in. I will do my best to respond. So far, first out the gate tonight was the Motor City Madman himself. Yes, the Madman, one of our chat moderators, is first out. We've got Hunter Perkins, John Vogel, Kevin R. Smith, who is a member of the Gaming Gang. He is our newest reviewer for role-playing games. We'll talk about that a little bit after the news. Let's see, we've got Disavowed 92. Keldon is with us. And I think that's it. I think we are, I think I am caught up. Speaking of being caught up, the Madman says they're getting caught up with the old-time radio broadcasts. They are really enjoying them. If you enjoy Halloween and you like spooky stuff, definitely check out the Spooktacular going on at thegaminggang.com. 245 Trioxin has popped in as well. Xavier Simps is swinging on in. I believe this is the first time that Xavier has been with us in chat. So welcome aboard as well. So let's jump on into the news because there's an interesting looking game that arrives from Giga Mech Games in early 2022. Here's what I know about Mechanical Beast. The creature was all humanity hoped for, a sentient robot with the capacity to self-improve by building itself new modules to solve the needs of the population, big and small. It was an endless source of admiration and improvement of people's lives. That is, until it started to go out of control. At this point, no human had a detailed plan on how to fix it or even shut it off. Due to the organic growth it had, the original blueprints were useless, and nobody had thought of keeping logs outside of the machine system. There was no guide whatsoever on how it was structured now. Your team, as designers of the core system, must dive into the bowels of the beast, find its control room, activate the off switch, and then escape before it collapses entirely around you while self-disassembling. To aid in your quest, you can send your reliable android to tinker with the gears and rooms, should you get stuck, or you can activate the gears yourself to create a path amongst the chaos. Deep into and back out of the belly of a huge mechanical beast, which is sort of the official title of this game, is a tile-laying manipulation puzzle where you play as an exploration party of engineers who, together with your android helper, must explore the belly of a giant robot to find its control room and deactivate it. During the first part of the game, the maze will grow as you explore until you find the off switch. The rest of the game, the rooms are collapsing around you, and you must quickly make your way to the exit before the robot locks down, trapping you forever inside its bowels. Why do they keep saying bowels? Couldn't they just say inside? It's bowels. You can change the layout of the rooms using the gears you find within to help you find an exit. You win by getting everyone, including the people you find trapped within and your trusted android, out of the beast. The game can be played solo, co-op, or competitively with up to 4 players. Mechanical Beast is, once again, for 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, plays in 20 to 40 minutes. I got to be honest, I don't have an MSRP amount just yet, but this should be arriving in the first quarter of 2022. 2022. This looks like this could be kind of interesting. So that would be a pretty cool looking game. Now, one thing that kind of throws me off a little bit, and I am sharing some images of the game, is the art style for the cover of the game looks a bit different. So right now you're seeing what I think was originally the cover of the game with some of the tiles, and now it has this cover. So I'm kind of curious if we might see a bit of a change with the art style of these tiles. I don't know, but it does look a little different than the cover art. But this could be kind of cool. And once again, I like tile laying games. That's just how I am. On to the next news piece. Alley Cat Games is releasing a new edition of Martin Wallace's Tinner's Trail. And here's the dope. In Tinner's Trail, set in 19th century Cornwall, you represent a mining conglomerate at the height of the tin and copper mining industry. You must buy plots of land across Cornwall in auctions and survey them for tin and copper, always managing your work points and money efficiently. Once you have a mine in place, it's time to extract the ore and, ideally, make a profit. But the deeper your mine goes, the more expensive the process gets. To reduce the cost of mining, you can place developments such as ports, train stations, and adits, drainage tunnels. But there's only so many improvements to go around. Once you've made your money, trying to time the market to sell when prices are high, you can invest it in industries outside of Cornwall, which gains you victory points. The earlier you invest, the better the return. Can you outplay the competition and make the most money? Or will you be left without 2 shillings to rub together? This edition of Tinner's Trail differs from the original 2008 version in several ways. The player count, for example, is now 1 to 5 instead of 3 to 4. And the resources on the board are now set up via tiles instead of dice rolls to maintain variability while reducing the randomness. Dual use cards are now an important part of the game as well, giving you information before an auction or an extra boost after an auction. Tinner's Trail is, once again, for 1 to 5 players, ages 13 and up, plays in 60 to 90 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of approximately, because it due to exchange rates, $54.99 when it arrives, also in early 2022. So it could be pretty interesting. So Disavowed92 says Tinner's Trail is a great game. I have to say, I'm not familiar with it. This is a Martin Wallace design that I have never heard of, to be honest. I mean, I understand Wallace has a lot of designs out there. It's not as if I know every single one, but I had never stumbled across this before. I got to say, it does look like it's got a lot of visual pop, although I'm not sure if the photography that's being used here is that they're trying to squeeze in a bunch of the different components for you to see them, or if that's how the board will actually look. Not a clue. Not a clue. All righty then. Let's move on to our next news piece, because arriving later this year, hey, we got something that's coming out in 2021. This is coming from Arcane Wonders and Jet Games Studio, and it is Mortem, Medieval Detective. Here's the scoop. Mortem, Medieval Detective, is a game of deduction and adventures that takes place in a grim world shaped in the image of medieval Europe, with its legends, superstitions, and fears coming to life. Take on the roles of secret organization agents and investigate mysterious and thrilling events. You will solve mysteries and encounter fascinating characters in the course of 3 exciting scenarios, all part of a single storyline. Each case requires up to 3 hours to play. You are free to explore the world of Mortem in any way you like, depending on which agents you choose. Put objects under surveillance or send agents to secretly search or interact with them in many other ways. Gather information by interrogating subjects or talking to them. Isn't that kind of the same as interrogating them? Choose your own way to advance through the game. either using the kick in the door approach or by being stealthy and discreet, trying to avoid unwanted attention. Only you and the choices you make decide how the events will unfold in the end. Tread carefully and welcome to Mortem. The game is for 1 to 6 players, ages 12 and up, plays in 2 to 3 hours per scenario, and it will carry an MSRP of $45 when it arrives in stores later this year. We have seen a lot of mystery games as of late, or police procedural games as well. And that is just kind of a theme that is hot right now. You figure we've got, well, Portal has Detective, and then we've got Lucky Duck has Chronicles of Crime. Right off the top of my head, I can think of those two. Now we have Mortem, which, if this ends up doing well, I would assume that we've got more stories on the horizon. It's a possibility. So the Madman says, okay, now this I might be able to get my wife to play, and she totally dislikes board games. Yes, unfortunately, the Madman has a hard time getting people to play board games in his part of Michigan. I don't know. So, yeah, so far we have seen a couple of games with solitaire suitability. Let's talk about some role-playing game news, because the box set for Dungeon Crawl Classics Lankhmar, The Greatest Thieves in Lankhmar, is now available to order, or you can grab it right now in PDF. Here's the deets. A level 3 DCC RPG box set. From the most famous city in the history of fantasy comes a sword and sorcery adventure that only the best gamers will survive. The Greatest Thieves in Lankhmar is a Dungeon Crawl Classics adventure that sends characters into the hot cellars beneath Thieves' House, across the sooty rooftops of the city of 70,000 smokes, and on to a mad dash through the palace of the Overlord. This box set comes with everything you need to run an epic adventure over several sessions, whether you run it standalone or as part of an ongoing campaign. When you open the box, you'll be in the company of legends. The Greatest Thieves in Lankhmar was first run as a tournament at Gen Con 2019, where 20 nationally competitive teams competed over 4 fantastic days and 3 hard-fought rounds. Characters died alone, lost beneath Thieves' House as their torches burnt out one by one. After 44% of tables experienced total party kills, that is a high percentage, and nearly 6 in 10 player characters were killed, one team survived to win the tournament. How will your players compare? Inside this box, you're going to find a 68-page booklet containing the adventure, a 20-page book of player handouts, a 16-page player pack, a 48-page judges pack, a 12-page scoring sheet, die-cut luck counters for using fleeting luck at the table, 4 pages of die-cut rooftop chase tokens, a huge 44-inch long rooftop chase map to simulate the chase across the rooftops of Lankhmar, plus Dicing with Death, a complete standalone bonus adventure designed to be deployed when characters die in the main adventure. This is officially licensed from the estate of Fritz Leiber. The box set is available for $59.99, or you can grab the PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG for $30. I gotta say, I am very, very interested in Dungeon Crawl Classics Lankhmar, but I have to say the pricing for this seems out of whack. I don't like picking on companies and saying, hey, man, what's up with this pricing? But a PDF that basically breaks down to maybe 180 pages for $30, that is, in my opinion, that's a little pricey. That is a little bit pricey. But I am kind of, I'm bouncing around picking up the Dungeon Crawl Classics Lankhmar, which I believe is also a box set. And I don't know. I have reached out multiple times to Goodman Games try to do some coverage, maybe do some interviews, maybe even look to review some stuff. And outside of just Harley Stroh, who does not work for Goodman Games, nobody's ever gotten back to me. I don't know. I don't know. So on one hand, I'm sort of like, yeah, I would like to cover Lankmar and of course other Dungeon Crawl Classic stuff because I reviewed the core book, which I really like. I reviewed Mutant Crawl Classics, which I think is pretty good as an add-on to the core book, which it's supposed to be a standalone book, but I don't think it works that well as a standalone. But then on the other hand, I think to myself, there's a lot of companies who really do like my coverage, who want me to cover their stuff. So yeah, sometimes I'm like, maybe I shouldn't bother with Goodman Games. I don't know. Although I always share the new stuff because I think they got cool stuff. I do. All right. My final news piece, now available in print and PDF, is a pretty cool looking old school Renaissance themed zine. It's from Crowbar Creative. Here's the skinny on Rackham Vale. When the world was 100 years younger during the golden age of British book illustration, Arthur Rackham and his paint box gave birth to some of the most transportive, iconic, and magical images of all time. His work brought to life characters and settings from famous fairy tales, ancient mythology, and timeless classics. In Rackham Vale, these images are given new life for use in your tabletop role-playing games. Rackham's characters, creatures, and scenes become NPCs, villains, and a hidden veil sandbox setting that can be dropped into any RPG campaign that could do with a touch of magic, mystery, and old-time weirdness. In addition to high adventure, weird creatures, dark sorcery, and oodles of riddling, tricksy, ribald fairy folk, you'll find 152 pages and 100 plus Rackham illustrations, an original map by Joe N. Brown, an original factions graphic that charts relationships for easy reference, dozens of adventure hooks. There's a fully illustrated bestiary of 24 new creatures based on Rackham's artwork, tables for generating new settlements and creatures that fit the setting, a preparation checklist for GMs, content that prioritizes accessibility and utility, plus stats for old school essentials, although this setting is compatible with and easily adapted to other systems. The 154-page softcover and map carry an MSRP of $25, or you can grab the PDF right now at Drive-Thru RPG for $7. Sweet. Very cool. This looks very, very interesting. And I should point out, I will be reviewing Rackham Vale because it is heading my way. That's right. So from Crowbar Creative, and I thought they reached out. They were curious if I thought I'd be interested in taking a peek. And I looked at it. I said, hell yeah, I'll check it out. So the Madman says whenever they hear the name Rackham, they think of the pirate John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. Very nice. So Flaming Heron has joined us. Good to see you, Flaming Heron. Our other chat moderator has arrived. So that is it for the news tonight. Did mention Drive-Thru RPG in the last two news pieces. And should point out, if you don't know this already, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, are affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to head over to, say, Drive-Thru RPG, by all means, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep the Gaming Gang around. Also, if you happen to like these videos, if you like the website, if you like what I do, then by all means, feel free. You can buy me a cup of coffee or soft drink over at paypal.me/thegaminggang. Do want to take a moment to thank the Madman, who has made a huge contribution. Very, very cool. Thank you very much. Really, really do appreciate it. And I do want to mention that I am probably going to use this contribution towards the Kickstarter that's coming soon for Old School Essentials. And I'll explain why in just a moment. So the Madman says, a steaming hot cup of Joe. Yeah, I refer to coffee as Joe all the time, and people look at me like, what the hell are you talking about? So it's like, okay. Jason Brantley has joined us. Welcome aboard, Jason. Thanks for hanging out with us in chat tonight. So, Flaming Heron's threatening the ban hammer. Watch out, everybody. So, as I mentioned, I'm kind of up in the air about maybe looking at picking up the Lankmar box set for Dungeon Crawl Classics, which, as far as I understand, it is a standalone game. I'm pretty sure it's a standalone game. So I was just discussing, kind of bouncing that around. I am also really interested in reviewing Old School Essentials, especially the Advanced Fantasy. And I have had people ask me in the past, how come I have not reviewed either Old School Essentials, which is classic kind of BX, right? And the Advanced Fantasy. And the answer is, I can't find it anywhere. It's sold out. It is sold out. I found one store. I should actually call them. They were out of state, but I went online. Supposedly they've got copies of the player's book and the referee book for OSE Advanced Fantasy. And I placed the order. It's in the cart. I go to checkout, and it tells me that there's a problem with my shipping address. It's like, really? I'm like, I have stuff shipped to this address all the time. What is the problem with your website? So I should call them. I should call up and say, hey, I keep trying to place this order on your website. How about I just do it over the phone and you can ship this out? But I would not be surprised if they actually don't actually have those books. So, because nobody does. I've looked on eBay and it's like, oh no, that secondary market is way too much. But I do understand that there is going to be an Old School Essential Kickstarter, and it'll be for the box sets. And I think Errol Otis has done some new artwork for the BX OSE, the real OSE, or I should say the official OSE. And that's going to be the new box set. And there's supposed to be the box set of the advanced books. So essentially, the way Old School Essentials has been broken down, as far as I understand, is that the kind of the BX has all these different little books, and they came in a box set. And then the Advanced Fantasy was broken up into a bunch of smaller books. I shouldn't say a bunch. I think there's 4. And then they decided, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to actually have a player's book and a referee book and incorporate all that Advanced Fantasy stuff into 2 books. And that's what's sold out. All this stuff is sold out. So that's why I haven't reviewed Old School Essentials, folks. It's not because I don't want to. It's I can't find it anywhere at a normal retail price. I think the box set for OSE is going on eBay for around $375. And I think originally on Kickstarter, I think it was $80. Yeah, Flaming Heron says, never touch eBay. Ouch. Those prices. Yes, I know. Okay, moving right along. Do want to mention Kevin R. Smith is, I talked about this last night. He is the latest addition to the gaming gang. He is going to be reviewing some role-playing games for us. In fact, his first 2 reviews are already out, and he tackles the 2 core books for Achtung Cthulhu 2D20 from Modifius Entertainment. I want to mention, I still could use one more RPG reviewer. I am really, really, really in need of one more role playing game reviewer. And of course, they are PDFs that you receive. Now, one thing I will point out, and Kevin can attest to this, if you are a reviewer for the Gaming Gang and you're reviewing RPG PDFs, you actually get access to all the PDFs that are currently being reviewed. So I'll give you an example. If you were a reviewer and Kevin was reviewing the two core books for Achtung Cthulhu 2D20, you would actually get copies of the PDFs for Achtung Cthulhu 2D20. It's just how things work. So it's not like, oh, well, you only get what I throw at you to do reviews of. No. It's actually very cool how we like to work it out. Because the funny thing is, I may need somebody to do a Pathfinder adventure review, and I need to make sure that they have Pathfinder books. Otherwise, how are they going to do a review, right? So Flaming Heron says they throw their hat in the ring, but we've already seen how they type in chat. Yeah, it wouldn't. Yeah. I'm kidding. I'm joking. So Jason's talking about the last time they played Pathfinder was 10 years ago. Yikes. That's a ways back. So Kevin says, thanks for the votes of confidence. Tomorrow he's going to say, yeah, Jeff, I'm done. I don't want to do this. That's usually what happens with the reviewers. They show up, they do like one review, and then they're like, oh, there's too much pressure. I'm out. It's like, okay. All right. Moving right along. Let's jump on in because tonight I am going to be taking a look at Pathfinder Lost Omens, The Grand Bazaar from Paizo Inc. This 135 page hardcover is arriving in stores on October 26th. I believe if you order it from Paizo right now, you'll get it shipped out. So you'll probably get it before October 26th. It is carrying an MSRP of $34.99. Reason why I'm like going, oh, wait a second. It's because for some strange reason, the information is not in my teleprompter. Even though I typed it up, it is not there. So it's a 135 page hardcover, carries the $34.99 MSRP. It is going to be available in PDF tomorrow for $24.99. Marcelo says, aha, I thought I came late and missed the Bazaar talk. You didn't. No. We always do our tabletop gaming news first, and then we move on to our first look. All right, so let's swing on over to the other camera. And I think I bumped this book. Well, not too bad. I bumped it when I was moving things around. I was like, oh, crap, it's not going to be anywhere straight. I was thinking it's going to be like this. Oh, yeah, here we go. Duh. So here we have Pathfinder Lost Omens Grand Bazaar. I have not cracked this open. I have not even looked at the back of this book. So when I say I'm doing a first look, it really is. It's a first look. I have not taken a peek at this. So let's take a look at the back, and I will put myself on the spot having to read for the first time off the back of this book. But wait, there's more. A turn of the corner on a city street reveals a marketplace where almost anything can be found. Peruse the stalls of the Grand Bazaar as your characters examine both the mundane and the marvelous, seeking the perfect gear for their next harrowing adventure. Give an unfamiliar weapon a swing, try on a fashionista's gown or a suit of armor. Make friends with a chatty familiar or companion animal. Pick up an assistive item that makes exploration accessible for every adventurer. Settle down for a gourmet meal, or simply befriend the cast of vibrant characters that maintain the collection of shops presented in Pathfinder Lost Omens Grand Bazaar. Jump on in. I think what we're going to find is this is kind of a gear book. and maybe a gazetteer a little bit. I think that the Grand Bazaar is in Absalom. I don't think it is part of the Mwangai Expanse. Like I said, first time I'm opening this up. So let's see what we got. All right. First of all, I should point out that we've got a lot of authors' credits here, as well as a ton of artist credits as well. And if I sat here reading all these, we'd be spending about 10 minutes and you'd just be listening to me mispronounce a bunch of people's names badly. Few things to point out before we really get started. I'm going to stay picture in picture up here. So if you are not familiar with how I do my first looks, I will still be on screen. So that means I am going to be cutting off the upper left portion of the book as we go through it. This book was provided by the fine folks over at Paizo Inc., but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any sort of compensation outside of this review copy for me to share my thoughts or this video about the Grand Bazaar with you. And these days, it's important for you to know that. Also, we are not going to look at each and every page. I am going to skip pages here. So I will probably skip maybe 3 or 4 pages at a time. I want to give you a good feel for what is in this book, but I am not going to provide a look at every page of this book. So Jason says they're not sure how long they'll be in chat since it's almost 2 a.m. where they're at. Completely understand. You can always come back after the fact. If you stop in anytime about 15 minutes after the stream finishes up, there are timestamps, so you can jump ahead. You don't have to sit and watch, the tabletop gaming news and stuff like that again. So let's jump on in here. First of all, it says that the book is going to refer to several other Pathfinder products, yet these additional supplements are not required to make use of this book. That's important. We were talking about, I dinged the recent Scarlet Citadel from Kobold Press, which I liked. I liked the adventure. I thought it was a good adventure. I didn't think it was a fantastic adventure, but I dinged it because, in essence, you have to have 2 other Kobold Press books to get any use out of that adventure. And the reality is it's like 5 books that you should have. So it says the Advanced Player's Guide and Lost Omens Character Guide are referenced as well. So welcome to the Grand Bazaar. It is. Okay, so it's in Absalom. It says, are you a newcomer to Absalom? All right, so we get a map key. So we're going to have a map. Let's take a look at that. So that is the Grand Bazaar with all the various different stores and shops. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at like the first couple of locations to get a feel for what we're taking a peek at, how this is going to break out. So we have Barguest's Bin, kind of like a bargain bin. Says, this eye-catching shop proudly and gaudily announces precisely what it is, calling to both the aspirations and blatant greed of would-be treasure hunters. Signs adorn the green and gold walls with slogans such as, delve the siege castles, explore forgotten tombs, and perhaps the most cajoling, be your own boss. So it looks like we get an NPC affiliated with that location. Talking about what this shop is. It's a treasure hunting and treasure hunting supply shop. It says leads for the foolhardy. Okay. And then we get some gear. So it does look kind of like this is a bit of a gazetteer and a gear book as well. So we've got a few different items here. We've got the brilliant rapier, encompassing lockpick. I guess it looks like it's, I was going to say, looked like it was magnetic and things were stuck to it. No, it's like a Swiss Army knife. And the scarab cuirass So that's some of the wares that are available there at that shop. So the Madman's asking, how small is this font? It's not tiny. So it's not really small. I mean, I can read it. Sometimes you'll notice every once in a while I'll do a first look at something and I like take a look at the back and I'm like, oh damn. Like I'm like trying to like oh I can barely read this because the font is so small. But no, I'm reading it fine. Kind of give you an idea here. So silencing ammunition. Silencing ammunition is particularly dense and seems to dampen sounds around it. On a successful strike, an activated piece of silencing ammunition creates a second level silence effect on the target. So yeah, so I mean, I'm reading it okay. All right, then we got Bellwether Lodge. And this is a monster hunting shop. Sort of looks like what it might be. And then we have some traps, some snares. So it appears we get a couple of pages about the locale and then a couple of pages of gear. Flaming Heron says they actually end up using PDFs to read stuff more often than not because you can magnify it and only share the book with their players. Russell Higgins has joined us. Good to see you, Russell. The Madman says, I didn't need glasses till I hit 50. Now I need a new prescription almost every year. Yeah. I've had glasses or contacts since I was 13. So I am used to that. But luckily, knock on wood, my vision has not gotten too much worse. So we got Catfish Salvage Solutions. That's kind of interesting. The Clockwork Caravan. Speaking of Clockwork, if you missed it, I actually did a first look yesterday at Guns and Gears for Pathfinder because this is kind of Paizo week. Marcella says Paizo updates the errors in their PDFs as well. It as an example, the core rulebooks in its third update. Tell you who else is really good at correcting stuff in their PDFs, and that's Cubicle 7 Entertainment. And I know a lot of people complain that their PDFs come out and they've got too many errors in them. But the thing is, it's a PDF. And one of the reasons why they do release the PDFs like that is because they want the players out there to help them kind of not necessarily proofread it, but to help them if they need to make any changes in that. And they are always on top of making changes to the PDFs. That's also one of the reasons why you see it takes quite a while for Cubicle 7 Entertainment books to come out, the physical books. The PDFs are usually out for quite a while. That's one of the reasons. So Russell is saying that they need to get a new tablet. I read a lot of RPG PDFs on my iPad. So Viper Dave is with us. Very cool. Welcome aboard, Viper Dave. So we've got some of the clockwork items, the clockwork familiar. It's like a clockwork dog. I like the artwork throughout. Clockwork spider bomb, I should say. Spider Bond. Duh. Bandman says Pinnacle Entertainment Group, Savage Worlds, is pretty good about updating their PDFs. Yes, the Madman is a big Savage Worlds fan. And he runs North Texas University? The kind of Buffy the Vampire Slayer-ish RPG. So Jason says they pre-ordered Achtung Cthulhu, and they have about 4 versions of each book due to revisions. Yep. Hey, I'd rather have that happen than get the printed book and be like, oh my gosh, this is a mess. So we got some familiars. So we got info about familiars. So we have Kraken's Inc. Must be a tattoo shop. Lost and Found. This looks like a restaurant. powered cuisine, the Mask and Moon. Yep, it's one of the most notable restaurants in Absalom. There you go. Cool. Material changes. This looks like this could be fun, especially if you're using the city of Absalom as not necessarily your player character's kind of like home, but if you were using that city as maybe a bit of a base of operations for a campaign, I think this would be pretty sweet to utilize. We got the menagerie. Merry Gleam. What is Merry Gleam? It's a combination toy shop, joke shop, and imperial shrine run by a fun-loving Arcadian goblin and her siblings. Okay. Poppet. What is the Poppet here? Is that a background of some sort? No, it says it's a toy. Okay, so poppets are small basic constructs that typically help their owners with simple tasks. Do those dishes. Go do the dishes there, you poppet. Go empty the cat box. Get going. All right, so we've got actually quite a lot of detail about the poppet. There's like 6 pages devoted to it. Morham's mobility apparel. That's kind of cool. Accessibility stuff. So I'm kind of curious, and I certainly mean absolutely no offense by asking this. But and I understand everybody deserves representation in these games. They really do. I am a firm believer in that. The thing that throws me off is from my experience, and maybe this is just because I've been at this for a long time, but it seemed to me that the players that I played with who faced any sort of physical or even mental challenges, they wanted to play characters who did not face those same physical and mental challenges. I'll give you a great example, and I've mentioned him before, talking about all the role playing games that I'd run in, like Call of Cthulhu and stuff like that. My best friend Elliot, his nephew Paul, he played with us for years and years and years, and Paul's in a wheelchair. He was born with spina bifida. He never was like, yeah, I really want to play a character that's, in a wheelchair. So I'm just curious. Like I said, I mean absolutely no offense by asking the question, but I mean, once again, I understand people wanting representation in their favorite games. It's just I haven't encountered people who were like that. Maybe it's just the people I've played with. I don't know. So Jason's talking about Space 1889. Yes, I go way back with that game. Good old Frank Chadwick. Although Frank didn't have anything to do with the newest edition that came out. So we've got Reclaim Paradise, Relics and Remembrance. The Resplendent Rose is looks like it's an elvish fashion shop. I don't know. Or maybe not. I guess it's just an elvish shop. The Rune Room. So Kevin says the one person they played with who was mobility impaired played a character with a high-tech wheelchair in a GURPS Supers game. Okay, cool. Cool. Like I said, I don't mean anything by it. I'm just curious. I'm not pulling a John Gruden by any stretch of the imagination, folks. I'm just, like I said, I'm curious. I'm not against having representation at all. This looks cool. This looks really interesting. I'm looking forward to reviewing this. As I mentioned, this is kind of Paizo week around these here parts. And yesterday I looked at Guns and Gears. Today we're taking a look at Lost Omens, the Grand Bazaar. Tomorrow I've got more Paizo action heading our way, and I'll talk about that when we wrap this up. We've got some adventure reviews coming up. So we've got reviews coming for the next 2 chapters in the Strength of Thousands adventure path. Sammy's taking care of that. Kevin is, I believe, working on the review of the adventure we're going to take a look at tomorrow, even though it is a high level adventure. And he's not, he was mentioning he's not overly familiar with high level adventures for Pathfinder, but I was like, yeah, come on. You could do it. So we got armor and weapons, Urban Garden Jewelers, Urban Gorilla. What? So we got some back alley shops. So we've got a few more. Yeah, it looks like we've got quite a few more shops, but they're just a couple of paragraphs or long paragraphs kind of describing them, as well as it appears that each of these, even the back alley shops, get a breakdown of who the proprietor of that shop is. Captivator, new archetype. So ads, Absalom ads. The amazing Mr. Galarian. Tired of having somebody kick sand in your face? Hi, I'm Bob Atlas. So we've got a spell trickster. Another archetype, I think. And a wrestler. Okay. Here's our equipment table. So it looks like this is a breakdown of all that gear that we had throughout. A nice, easy way to track down some of the stuff here. Nice. And then we get a glossary and index to wrap up the book. And that is our, 135 pages, because here's our OGL to wrap up. Cool. That is Pathfinder, Lost Omens, Grand Bazaar. I thought it was the Grand Bazaar. It's advertised as the Grand Bazaar or the Grand Bazaar. I guess it's just Grand Bazaar. Cool deal. So Marcelo said Guns and Gears has a couple of supercharged wheelchairs. Yeah, we noticed that too. We were taking a peek through last night. So Flavor here says, such an inclusive group, us RPG players. We tend to be. We really do tend to be. More so than other, not to pick on other, forms of gaming. But yeah, most of the time role-playing game players, we're pretty open to anybody hanging out and playing. So stay tuned. I will have a review of Pathfinder Lost Omens Grand Bazaar, not the Grand Bazaar, in the very near future. Next week, we're going to talk about the releases that are coming in November from Paizo for Pathfinder and Starfinder. The funny thing is, it looked like it was going to be a pretty sparse month. And that's why we had a lot of stuff come out this month. And now it looks like there's a lot of stuff coming next month too. So I was like, whoa, holy cow. Anyway, what's on the horizon? So on tomorrow's show, I will be taking a first look at Pathfinder, Night of the Great Death. This is a standalone adventure for Pathfinder. It's for higher levels. I'm going to cheat. I'll look at the back. So I'll mention that tomorrow that I've cheated and I've looked at the back. What level is it for? 16th level characters. Yes. Kevin wasn't kidding. That's high level. That's high level adventuring. So we'll have to check that out tomorrow. And we're also going to take a look at the flip mat that is available for Night of the Great Death as well. For some strange reason, I get the vibe that it's a kind of like a Mask of the Red Death sort of adventure. Of course, I could be absolutely incorrect. Not unusual for me to be absolutely wrong. All righty. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, as well as the Gaming Gang, is sponsored throughout most of October by RockCon, taking place October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in Rockford, Illinois. I will be there myself. I know I'll be there Friday and Saturday. I'm just not sure about Sunday because that Sunday will be my birthday. But definitely check it out if you are in the Midwest. Yeah, if you're in the Chicago area or maybe up in Wisconsin, hey, maybe even, lower Michigan, consider taking a peek, seeing what it's like. I'm assuming it's probably about 500 people. I don't know for sure, but I kind of get the vibe it's probably about 500 people or so. So Marcelo says it's sad. Instead of reading novels, I'm reading Pathfinder rule books. Here's what I tend to do. I tend to read role-playing game books and of course, board game rules and stuff like that. And then at night, I listen to audiobooks. That's how I go to sleep. I listen to audiobooks and I have a timer on my phone that cuts off at an hour and a half. So usually good hour, I'm still awake listening to the audiobook. So that's how I get my book reading in. I know. What can I tell you? Hey, when I used to deliver RVs all around the country, I had tons of audiobooks with me at all times because I would just play them through the radio of the RV that I'd be driving. And I could knock through a 20-hour audiobook in one trip. So, kind of cool. Kind of cool. All right, we had a few new people hang out tonight in chat. Thank you very much. Definitely do appreciate it. It looks like we have cracked 5,000 subscribers to the channel now. So that happened earlier today. I wasn't going to really announce anything. I won't say anything like on Twitter or anything like that. Because what usually will happen is YouTube will like take away 5 subscribers out of nowhere for a few days and then put them back on. So I don't want to be like, hey, we hit 5,000 subscribers. And then somebody swings over, takes a look. They're like, what are you talking about, man? You're at 4,996. Dummy. That's it for this time out. If you happen to like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the dispatch streams live, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central, it'll also inform you when I upload other videos, such as yesterday's first look at Dungeons & Dragons, Fizbin's Treasury of Dragons. Once again, if you want to win the alternate art edition of this book, my copy of it, check out the first look. I tell you how you can get in the running. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Those of you who hung out in chat, thank you very much. Once again, welcome to some new folks who popped in to give the stream a chance. Hopefully you pop on in and visit with us once again. Anyway, I really appreciate people who hang out, keep me company in chat, because then I don't feel like a complete doofus just talking into a camera. But I do know a lot of people out there don't have an opportunity to watch the stream live. They watch after the fact, maybe even on Memorex. Thank you as well. I really do appreciate each and every one of you taking time out to watch videos on the channel. All right. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and I will be back tomorrow. And here's hoping each and every one of you has an opportunity to get in plenty of great gaming with your very own gang. See you tomorrow. Oh, You're still here. Well, while you're kicking it, how about subscribing to the Gaming Gang channel? Or seeing the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch? Or finding out what YouTube recommends you check out here at my channel? And of course, don't forget, get your geek on at thegaminggang.com.